A person earns $95,000 a year, no proper holiday in 2 years, avoids checking the bank account on weekends, and every month, 3 days before payday, transfers money from savings just to cover basics. This is not unusual. A 2023 PYMNTS survey found that 36% of people earning over $100,000 live paycheck to paycheck, over 1 in 3. But here's the thing, the problem isn't the salary. It never was. And today, I'm going to show you exactly what is actually draining high earners dry. Because it's not what most people think. The number you hear most often when people talk about a good salary is 6 figures. 100,000. It became the cultural shorthand for having made it. But that number is doing a lot of misleading work. The median household income in the U.S. is around $74,000, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. In the UK, median full-time earnings sit around $34,000, according to the ONS. That means if you're earning anywhere near 6 figures, you are already ahead of the majority of people in your country. Not slightly ahead, significantly ahead. And yet the feeling doesn't match the math. People earning $120,000 describe the same low-level financial anxiety as people earning $50,000. Different problems, same dread, same Sunday evening feeling when they think about their bank account. That gap between what the numbers say and what life actually feels like is exactly what we're going to pull apart today. Where do you actually stand? Real thresholds. To understand where high earners actually sit, you need real thresholds, not vibes, numbers. To be in the top 10% of individual earners in the U.S., you need to earn around $133,000 a year, according to AIR's data. For households, that threshold rises to around $167,000. In the UK, according to Merck, the top 10% of taxpayers earn above $60,000 individually. Now picture who actually lives at this level. A senior project manager in Manchester, a mid-level software engineer in Austin, a nurse practitioner in Toronto working extra shifts. These are not people living in penthouses. These are people with good cars, decent holidays, maybe a mortgage they're proud of. They look comfortable from the outside. But here's the paradox. Talk to people at this income level and most of them will tell you they feel completely average. They look left and see someone earning more. They look right and see someone with a bigger house. They are objectively in the top 10% of earners and subjectively feel like they're just keeping up. That feeling has a name. And we'll get to it. But first, does earning this actually make you wealthy? Here's something most financial videos completely skip over. And it's a significant mistake. When you hear a $150,000 salary, your brain automatically processes that number. But that number never hits your account. In the U.S., if you're earning $150,000, after federal income tax and add state tax depending on where you live, your actual take-home lands somewhere around $100,000 or just above it. In the UK, someone earning $90,000 takes home roughly $60,000 after income tax and national insurance. That means a third or more, gone before a single pound or dollar touches your hands. Now consider what's coming out of that take-home. If you're in London or New York, rent or a mortgage can easily run $3,000 to $5,000 per month. Childcare for one child in a major city, $1,500 to $2,500 per month. Student loan repayments, another $500 to $1,000. Add car payments, insurance, groceries, utilities, subscriptions. Keep adding. Very quickly, that 6-figure salary becomes an average feeling life, just with a much higher tax bill attached to it. A 2022 Smart Asset Analysis found that after taxes and cost of living, $250,000 in New York City leaves less disposable income than $100,000 in a mid-sized American city. So this is important to understand. The salary number and the actual financial breathing room you have are two very different things. If nobody ever spelled that out for you, This is why it feels tight, despite earning so much. The top 5% is where the numbers start to feel genuinely exclusive. In the US, the threshold sits at around $180,000 individually, according to IRS figures. In the UK, SMRC data puts the top 5% above approximately $80,000. These are not common salaries. Most people never reach them. Who lives here? Experienced lawyers, senior doctors, finance professionals, tech leads at established companies, small business owners who've been building for a decade, people who made specific choices, often trading time, flexibility, or early life for income stability later. And the top 1% in the US, that threshold begins at around $430,000 in annual income. In the UK, SMRC's data puts it above approximately $180,000. That feels enormous, and it is. But consider this: a dual-income household with a senior NHS consultant and a partner in corporate law in London can approach that number. It's rare. But it isn't fictional. And here's what's true even at that level. Every pound and every dollar is still attached to someone's working hours. Take away the income and the lifestyle stops. The spending is funded by labor, not by assets. That distinction matters more than the number itself. The gap nobody talks about. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Everything so far has been about income, what you earn, what lands in your account each month. And those numbers matter, but they're the wrong thing to measure if you actually want to understand financial security. The part most high earners completely miss is net worth. Not salary. Not take-home pay. What you actually own, minus what you owe. And when you look at that number, everything changes. The average net worth of a U.S. household, according to the Federal Reserve's 2022 Survey of Consumer Finances, is around $1.06 million. That sounds like a lot, but averages are being dragged upward by a small number of extremely wealthy households. The median net worth, the middle household, sits at around $192,000. That's the real picture. And of that, the majority is locked into liquid assets, primary residence, pension or retirement accounts, things you cannot easily spend. The Fed's data shows that for households under 35, median net worth is around $39,000. For 35 to 44, it rises to around $135,000. For 55 to 64, it reaches approximately $364,000. Wealth doesn't spike. It accumulates slowly, quietly, over decades. Now consider two people. The first is a retired secondary school teacher in Leeds. Modest salary their entire career, but 30 years of pension contributions, a home bought in the 90s, and no debt. Their net worth is quietly substantial. The second is a person in London earning $90,000. High income, good lifestyle, but 5 years into a large mortgage, student loans not yet cleared, and very little invested outside of work. On paper, the teacher is wealthier. Not because they earned more, because they accumulated for longer. High income without accumulation is just an expensive treadmill. The global picture, now step back, further than you're used to. According to Credit Suisse's Global Wealth Report, the U.S. ranks third globally in median wealth per adult at around $107,000. The U.K. ranks ninth at around $97,000. Both sit in the top 10 of approximately 200 countries measured. Here's the number that reframes everything. Credit Suisse estimates that approximately 53% of the world's adult population has a net worth below $10,000. More than half the adults on Earth, and someone in the US or UK earning a median wage, with some savings and a small pension, is almost certainly already in the global top 20% of wealth. The person watching this, stressed about their mortgage, anxious about their pension, worried they're behind, is very likely in the wealthiest fraction of humans who have ever lived. That's not a reason to stop worrying about money, but it is a reason to recalibrate what behind actually means. So, why does it still feel wrong? Why does someone earning $150,000 feel financially anxious when the data says they're doing well? The answer is reference group bias. You don't compare yourself to the median. You compare yourself to the people immediately around you. Your colleagues, your neighborhood, your social media feed, and those environments, for high earners, are full of other high earners, many of whom are spending at the upper edge of what their income allows. Think about it concretely. You work at a decent company. A colleague drives in with a new BMW, you notice. A few months later, someone in HR gets promoted. You pick up on what their package might be. Then a university friend posts from a rented beach house in the Maldives. And someone you went to school with, apparently retired at 45, sold a business. You're not measuring yourself against the world. You're measuring yourself against a curated circle, and that circle keeps moving. This is lifestyle inflation made invisible. It doesn't feel like a choice. It feels like keeping up. But every time your income rises and your spending rises to match, the gap between earning and building stays exactly the same. And it happens gradually, which is exactly what makes it dangerous. The year after a promotion, slightly nicer restaurants. The year after that, a bigger apartment. The year after that, more expensive holidays. No single decision felt reckless. All of it felt like a natural progression, but compounding works in reverse too, just quietly, and in the wrong direction. The anxiety isn't irrational, but its source isn't your salary, it's your reference point. Now here's a layer that almost nobody talks about. Let's say a high earner knows all of this. They understand reference group bias, they understand lifestyle inflation, so why still aren't they investing? Psychologists have studied this, and a few patterns come up again and again. The first is present bias. Our brains systematically undervalue the future. Spending $500 today at a restaurant feels like spending $500. The $5,000 that amount could have become through compounding over 30 years, that feels abstract, not real. So the brain chooses the present. The second is complexity paralysis. You look at the investment options: stocks, bonds, index funds, ETFs, ISAs, 401ks, pension schemes, and it's overwhelming. Doing nothing feels safer than doing the wrong thing. So 1 month passes. Then 6. Then a year. That's what inertia looks like from the inside. The third, and this is the most underrated, is identity. Many high earners have built their entire self-image around their earning power. Becoming a consistent investor means restricting yourself today. And that restriction can feel like a threat to the version of yourself you worked so hard to become. That's emotional, not rational, which is exactly why it's so powerful. These barriers are real, but they're not insurmountable, and naming them is the first step to getting past them. The gap strategy. What to actually do. So what do you actually do about it? The core principle is simple: the gap strategy. The gap between what comes in and what goes out. The wider that gap, the faster wealth builds, regardless of what the salary number says. First, automation. By the time money lands in your account and you see it, it's mentally already spent. So set an automatic transfer. On payday, a fixed amount moves directly to a separate account or investment, before you see it, before you touch it. Second, amounts, not just percentages. People often think I'll save 10%, but a percentage rises with income and the gap stays the same. Instead, commit to fixed, increasing amounts. When a raise comes in, direct 50% or more of the increase straight into savings or investment. Use the other 50 to improve your lifestyle if you want to. You still feel the raise, but the gap widens too. Third, simplicity over sophistication. The cure for complexity paralysis is a simple system: one index fund, one regular contribution. Don't optimize before you start. Start first, optimize later, and most importantly, make this decision before the money arrives, not after. The research is consistent. Lifestyle adjusts to available income within months. The only way to widen the gap is to commit to the gap before the money exists. Once it's sitting in your account, you've already lost the window. Here's what all of this actually means. High earners aren't living paycheck to paycheck because they don't earn enough. They're living paycheck to paycheck because income without a gap between earning and spending builds nothing. The number on your payslip is not your financial position. Your net worth is. And net worth is built in the space between what comes in and what goes out, consistently over years, not months. Taxes are real. Cost of living is real. Reference group pressure is real. Psychological barriers are real. None of that is to be dismissed. But what is also true, the one thing worth changing, is this. Before your next pay rise lands, decide where it goes. Not after it arrives, before. Because the research is consistent. Lifestyle adjusts to available income within months. The only way to widen the gap is to commit to the gap before the money exists. You don't need to earn more. You need to stop letting more earnings reset the baseline. But here's what I want to leave you with, and I don't think there's a clean answer to this. If you already know that lifestyle inflation is the problem, and you've known it for a while, what exactly is it that's stopping you from treating the next pay rise differently from the last one?